What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down why wide receivers run bad routes. So we're going to be talking about 3 of the most common mistakes that wide receivers will make when they're running routes that have this DB all over them and do not get them any separation. So I hope this video helps you guys out, but also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you want a complete off-season workout, split workout guide for what wide receivers need to do on the field and in the gym, check out that very first link in the description below for our ultimate 8-week wide receiver workout plan. What you'll get access to is 8 weeks of wide receiver gym and on-field training workouts with the exact sets, reps, workout splits, and a video example of each on-field drill. This is everything that you guys need to be a better wide receiver to improve your skills. There's over 500 plus workouts that you guys can do in this. So check out that very first link in the description below, fellas. We'd love to get you on that. Let's get started. So first things first, when you guys are running a route, your body language is so important. So a lot of wide receivers don't get this. A lot of wide receivers don't have the body control to do this. So when this wide receiver is coming up into this route, you see how his upper body is turned. And that is as big of an indicator as you can give to a DB. When it comes down to running bad routes, it's all about indicators. It's all about giving away your route and telegraphing what you're going to do. And your pad level is probably the biggest thing that you can do on that, next to your speed and next to your stride. But we're going to get into that in a clip from DeSean Jackson. So this DB, obviously it's man coverage. Where is he supposed to be watching? He's supposed to be watching your hips. So anytime that you guys are running a route where you're maybe having to get this, you need the DB to flip his hips. You need to make sure that you're committing your hips and your shoulders to the break. Let's talk about this situation just real quick. This DB's outside shade and we have to run an out route. We know we're not going to get the outside release because he's outside leverage. I can't force the release. So if I take this inside release, my mindset needs to be I am getting him to flip his hips, but I will not get him to flip his hips if I don't sell the fade. And I don't sell the fade if my hips and shoulders are telegraphed to the out route the entire time. My hips and my shoulders need to be committed vertical. My eyes need to be committed vertical because that's what will commit the DB vertical. He will never commit. He will never fully run. He will never fully accelerate if I'm not committed with my body language. So this was a bad route simply because his hips and his shoulders were opening up. We have a little bit of a jersey grab right here, but I still think that DB's in that situation to make a play regardless. So make sure, fellas, we are committed hips and shoulders. I am not starting to round before I hit that break point. You will lose explosion and you will give away the route too early. This DB was never fully committed to that fade because I never fully sold the route. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great idea. This is the exact right concept that you want to work in this scenario. We just have to be better about selling that route. Okay, so now this clip from DeSean Jackson, he's going to be running like a 5-yard hitch route, right? So kind of the same scenario that we were talking about before. We have an inside shade guy. So if we're running a 5-yard hitch, we're going to take the outside release. We're going to attack the DB's outside shoulder and try to get him to flip his hips out of there or open up the gate at least so I can slip underneath. Now, when you're running a fade, what are some of the things we talked about? You got to have good body language. Your eyes got to be straightforward. You got to be running fast and you got to be running in full stride. Nobody runs a 50-yard fade with choppy steps. So I can't have choppy steps on any route because that gives away that I'm making a break. So that's what DeSean Jackson does right here. He takes a little hesitation, choppy steps, and that doesn't get any separation from that DB. We have to make sure, fellas, when I'm going up to drop into a break and I'm trying to quote unquote sell vertical, sell fade, sell the 9, it all comes down to your stride length. You can't have choppy steps. You can't raise your chest up. You can't telegraph the break. But the choppiness, all that does is, hey, I'm making a break. When you chop your feet and you're not running in full stride, this DB is no longer threatened by the fade, and he is no longer alerted by the fade. Now, what everybody asks me to in these situations real quick before we move on to the next clip is that, oh, well, could I take choppy steps to try to get him to slow his feet and do like a hitch and go? Now, yes, but I don't necessarily personally teach that because I just don't want to fall in that bad habit ever. I don't want to be that guy that on one route I'm running full stride, I drop and I'm running the hitch. Then on the next route to sell the hitch, I'm taking choppy steps to make it look like I'm giving an indicator, like a false indicator. I don't teach that. I don't see why it wouldn't work, but I feel like sometimes it's doing a little bit too much. So we want to make sure that all my routes build off of each other and all my routes look somewhat similar. And the similarities between everything from a 5-yard hitch to a comeback is that I'm making it look look like a vert. I'm making it look like a 9. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Again, right idea by Deshaun Jackson, but we got to be able to execute. Fellas, we talk a lot about knowing what to do, and that is super important. And it's very, very important to have a high football IQ, but you also have to have the tools to execute. You got to be able to put everything together. You got to be doing the right exercises in the gym, the right exercises on the field to build that leg strength, ankle stability, that ability to cut on a dime. All those drills and workouts you need to be doing. So now, last reason that wide receivers will run bad routes is that they over-exaggerate what they are trying to do. So whether that's like a post route, whether it's like this route's going to be like kind of a hitch and go route, or like a sluggo, a slant and go. But whatever it is, they try to over-exaggerate because they feel like that will sell. And that is something that we do not want to do. So let's play this thing full speed. So this wide receiver does like an outside release, tries to take 3 steps on a slant to get this DB to jump. Now, this kind of equates to everything that we've been talking about, but it's just another thing that wide receivers will do. When he breaks on this, when he's trying to take 3 steps to the slant, he goes 1, 2, 3, and he reaches out for it. Now that that move, I guess, is trying to sell the route. He's trying to make this DB think I'm running a slant. So I'm going to take this big, long step. I'm going to commit my upper body to it. But at the end of the day, that's not going to get a DB. That DB, as soon as you reach, what happens to your pad level? As soon as you reach out for it, your pad level raises. And when your pad level raises, DB's expecting a break. He's not expecting a slant because nobody runs over the middle with their chest popped straight up in the air. They run over the middle in an explosive pad level position and they are driving. So when you reach out like this, or for example, if you're running like a comeback route and you reach for the break point, you reach for that snap down, that chest popping up, that is the biggest indicator you can give, because just like that first route that we looked at, DB is supposed to be looking at what? He's supposed to be reading your body language. He's supposed to be reading your pad level. So if you give it away with your pad level, it gives away the route to the DB, he will be all over that thing. And it's going to make it look like we're running a bad route. When really all we need to do is just sell the route a tad better. It's not about what the DB does, because a lot of people, fellas, will say, oh, it's just good coverage. I don't believe in good coverage. I believe in a wide receiver running a bad route. I believe in a wide receiver could always do something against every single scenario. And yes, there are times where the DB is just in the right place at the right time. But in a scheme, in a real game, 11 on 11, quarterback probably won't throw that anyways. So we got to understand that it's more so about what I do wrong than what a DB does right. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Make sure, fellas, third reason wide receivers will run bad routes is they try to over-exaggerate their cuts. They try to reach out for the cuts to try to make the DB bite because they think it sells it. It does not sell it. You sell a route by being sudden with your lower half, sell with the upper half, not with your feet. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below, you guys. We always appreciate the feedback, and it's always great to hear from you guys as usual. And if you guys have any questions on some of the stuff that we covered, like I said, leave those in the description. But also, fellas, if you want to get our 8-week wide receiver gym and field workout plan, check out that very first link in the description below. All the exercises and drills you need to do to cover the aspects we covered in this video. I'll see you guys next time.